Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Shout out Double R. Welcome on back. It is Sactown Sports. 1140 alongside Jay Johnson. I'm Zachariah. Coming up at 3:45, Jay. Let's go around the wacky world of sports, shall we? Got some things in the headlines that caught my eye. Like to get your 2 cents on it. That's what we do here for the most part, is it not? But right now we got a guest, Jay. We got a guest in the building, and we're going to start with his name, Jason Aponte. I don't know why I want to say it like that. He's on Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103. Jason, what is the origins of your last name, and why is it giving me so many fits?
Well, I mean, a lot of people always ask me, how do you pronounce it? Hey, go with the flow. Nobody ever really told me how to pronounce it. As you know, it's all good. I'm fine with it. All
right, cool. I'm rolling with Aponte. I took Spanish. A little bit more exotic. I like it. I took Spanish, not French, in high school, but I'm rolling with it anyway. All right, Jason. Me and Jay were just discussing right now in terms of the competition for the Niners. Obviously, with the AFC, like when you look at the top 10, 15 teams, a lot of them are from the AFC. In the NFC, is it just as simple as we're all waiting for the rematch of the NFC Championship game from last year? And are the Eagles by far the clear competition for the Niners going into 2023?
Yeah, on paper, it's always fun to discuss things like that in August, and it certainly seems that way, especially with the influx and losses of the NFC over, right? You get Aaron Rodgers over to the AFC now, and you start to look around at the teams, and it really just looks like the Eagles and the 49ers are the class, and then the tier under that is like the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks. They're all in that class, and then there's like teams like the Detroit Lions waiting and sitting around, where they're going to be the sexy pick for everybody. But conventional wisdom right now in August would say that absolutely the 2 teams out of the class of the NFC are the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. But that is all well and good in August. The games still have to be played. Injuries play a big part in how teams finish seasons, how other teams come about. So, but it is clearly the Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers.
Jason, around these parts, man, everyone talks about the quarterback, competition. I'm also looking at a few other things. I've had my eye on that extra linebacker position, and it seems like Oren Burks is in the lead right there. But a lot of people have talked about Flanagan Fowles, who's been a part of the San Francisco 49ers the last couple of years. What's your thought on that outside linebacker?
Well, it would certainly seem that Oren Burks has a chance to do that, because when he was pressed into duty last season, he showed that he was far more than a special teams player. So they're going to go with veterans. You did mention Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. He's somebody who is also involved on special teams. Marcelino McCrary-Ball is somebody who's a little bit more interesting. He plays fast. He looks like he's running around. But they also drafted D. Winters, who feels like another version of Dre Greenlaw. And I don't want to say that to just hype him up and say that that's what he will be, but he plays in a similar fashion. He's been turning a lot of heads. The thing about the third linebacker spot that I think a lot of people are forgetting is in the day and age of NFL offenses, you're not going to be in base that much. You're going to have a nickel on the field. So a third linebacker would be somebody who's going to be on the field first down, possibly second. But for the most part, offenses are trying to spread you out. You're going to have the nickel on the field, Isaiah Oliver, whoever would have you. So it is going to be interesting to figure that out. But the whole idea of base defense is kind of going away as the offenses shift to more spread and exotic looks.
Jason Aponte joins us. Jay Johnson, Zachariah here, Sactown Sports. He joins us on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline, your one-stop Honda shop. I'm going to make this very short and sweet, which is very much unlike me, Jason. But Nick Bosa holdout, deal or no big deal?
No big deal. He doesn't have to do anything in training camp, and I doubt even if he was signed, he wouldn't be doing anything in training camp, possibly be in drills. You're not going to see him at all during the preseason. It's almost like get him to the Greek, just get him to week 1. They'll figure it out. The way Kyle Shanahan is kind of speaking about it, just get him to week 1. That's it. You know that he's in tremendous shape. The only concern would be after holdouts, soft tissue injuries possibly, or what would the ramp up be? But I'm not worried about it. There's no way that they don't get this done. And I echo Kyle Shanahan's sentiments in the press conference about not being worried about it.
Jason, we know Juwan Jennings, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, but who's number 4 after those 3? Is it Danny Gray, or who are we looking at? Ray McLeod? Who you think is that 4th wide receiver to come off the bench after those big 3?
That's actually a really interesting question because I've been kind of pondering it myself. It certainly would seem like it's Ray McLeod. Ray McLeod feels like a guy who they utilize like Deebo Samuel. Obviously he can't do the things that Deebo does because Deebo's running over people, but they use him in similar fashion, jet sweeps, quick throws, things like that. Seems like he's got that spot locked in. 5 and 6 is going to be very interesting. From all accounts, Danny Gray has looked much better. I don't think they'd cut the cord on a draft pick so quickly. The 6th spot is going to be a lot harder. Who are they going to bring in? Is it going to be Chris Conley? Is it going to be Tay Martin? Willie Snead is turning some heads with some catches as well, too. For my money right now, I would probably put it on Chris Conley being the 6th. Very underrated run blocker, has the NFL receiving chops, and is somebody, again, Kyle Shanahan kind of craves that experience, right, that he can lean on. And that would also just make sure that Ronnie Bell is stashed away on the practice squad, and hopefully nobody's really gotten the news on him because the 49ers would like to keep him around as well, too.
Jason, I'm not saying this to be biased, and obviously, but I think the team that you cover and you do well for Niners Nation and the Sprint Right Option Pod, they are interesting to me not only because of the quarterback position, but also when it comes to Shanahan and Lynch, because Jay was joking about being a tormented Niners fan, but it's not because they haven't been relevant or competitive. It's just because they have not quite gotten that 6 yet. How do you see, obviously they don't, job security is not an issue, but I've also heard rumors that Lynch said that if he won it all, he might retire and walk away from it. Tell me what you're making of the head coach and the GM going into this year.
I mean, I think when you look at what they inherited in 2017 and where they are now, perennial in and out, as long as they have stable quarterback play, they're going to be NFC title at least. I think it's a wonder what they've built. And I think a lot of people, well, they haven't won the big game. Well, I think you guys are underestimating, 31 teams go home and they don't win the big game. It's very hard. It's some things that are outside of your control, like a Brock Purdy injury in the NFC title game. And then, what 49er fans fail to forget is, does that mean that you have enough to beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Like, there's a whole other game after that. I understand, you're upset about the Eagles game, but for what they built and for all the flack that they get for, well, they missed on this first-round pick, they didn't evaluate Mahomes, they didn't evaluate this guy, the guys that they've been able to hit on in the 5th and 6th round have been not just guys that contribute, they end up being all pros and stars at the best at their position. Nick Bosa falls into their lap. You add that in there. The way that they scout, find undrafted free agents. The Christian McCaffrey deal is just it's like the cherry on top. The way they've been able to build this roster and keep them every single year, and the only real discussion is what's going on with the quarterback, is something that should be marveled at. And I think that a lot of people just forget that it's very hard to win Super Bowls. Took a lot of very good Hall of Fame coaches a long time to win Super Bowls. Bill Belichick, Andy Reid. Andy Reid kind of mirrors a little bit what Kyle Shanahan is doing, known as the guy who can get there, not get it done, finally breaks through when he gets his Mahomes. But I think you should be proud that this team every single year is the team that people are saying, man, they're the most complete. If they ever got a quarterback, watch out for everybody. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think they can still have some sort of success even with Brock Purdy.
Completely agree, Jason. Joined by Jason Aponte of Niners Nation. I'm glad you said that because as a 49er fan, you made me feel good. I was all warm and tingly inside, Jason. I completely agree with that.
That's what he's here for.
I'm going to take it right back to the roster real fast, Jason. We know Christian McCaffrey's there. We know Elijah Mitchell's there, but you also talked about injuries. And as a 49er fan through and through, man, injuries have just played a part in the last feels like 10 years with this team. Jordan Mason, Ty and Davis Price are on the back end. Of course, they use the picks right there. Think twice that either of those guys don't make this roster?
No, not TDP, not Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason was somebody who we all fell in love with the training camp, and anybody that was there was saying, I don't see how this guy doesn't make the 53. And he was just running the football, but he's so valuable on special teams for them as well, too. His role kind of increased after, unfortunately, Elijah Mitchell got injured again. And that's the only real knock on the young man because he set the rookie record in 12 games in his first season. And then he only plays 5 after that. Fortunately, he just hasn't been available. Best ability is availability, unfortunately. It's a results-driven business. From everything that's being said about Ty Davis Price is that he's taking the next leap. Now, that's all well and good. Everybody is in either the best shape of their life, playing their best football in training camp. But can it translate to the field? And I think we're going to see that this weekend. You're going to see a little bit more of Ty Davis Price. Does he look a little bit more decisive? Is he not dancing in the backfield? Is he hitting the holes? Did he figure out something? Has the light come on? And I think you don't have to worry about either of these guys not making the team, especially if the Elijah Mitchell injury isn't as severe as, like missing a bunch of time or anything like that.
Jason Aponte, you can catch his work, Niners Nation, Sprint Right Option Pod on Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103. Jason, appreciate the time. And get ready, man. There's not much time until the season starts.
Hold on real quick, Jason. I see you got the Batman and the Spider-Man, and it feels like a few other things to the your left side. What you got back there, brother?
All right, so you see the pop figures and everything on the shelf right there. This gentleman here that I'm pointing to, I'm gonna get closer to. I'm an East Coast guy. My father's from the Bronx. I know you guys are not gonna like to hear this, but that's Derek Jeter.
Man.
Okay, bye, Jason. I like the starting lineups, though.
Yeah, that's Derek Jeter. But yeah, like a big comic guy. You see my 49er stuff on the top, but the comic book stuff is what gives me my little escape, because I got to tell you, there's nothing stranger than asking yourself, did I really just watch the all 22 of the Hall of Fame game between the Jets and the Browns? And like, do you really have an issue now at this point? So yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time, Jason. I hope you enjoyed your summer, because it's about to ramp up.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited for structure and discipline and NFL football. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not. I can tell you're lying in the tone of your voice. Jason Aponte, thank you, sir. Good stuff out of him. Yeah, man, it's time. I think it hits me. Training camp stuff comes out, but the Hall of Fame game, it's like, okay,